Welcome to an overview of my bakery dataset. My assigned item is pastry, and I'm going to be using the recommender system and the rule system to focus on pastry. But real quick about the dataset that it comes from, it involves the number of products like pastries, coffee, bread, or really just any sort of food item that's bought over different times of the day and days of the week. So now we're going to go through some highlights with a strong focus on pastry. So here we're going to start out with the bar chart showcasing the number of items bought, with coffee being the most popular product at the top. As you can see, pastry is pretty high up as well and important to this dataset. So this bar chart displays the number of pastries sold each hour, and as you can see, between the hours of 9 and 11, there's a significant peak in pastry sales, which to me would be an ideal time to target the breakfast crowd. Now this bar chart shows the busiest times during the week to buy pastries. And as you can see, between, once again, the hours of 9 and 11 each day is when you're going to hit your peak pastry sales. But unsurprisingly, your top days are going to be the weekend. And so maybe between the hours of 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday and Sundays would be your best time for weekend prime or special promotions or things like that. Now we're going to dive into a data-driven rules generated by the recommender system to determine the best customers and times to target. So here's a scatter plot that shows rules where pastries are the antecedent, meaning they are already in the customer's cart. So Rule 511, for example, highlights that if a customer buys a pastry and a cup of tea, they're highly likely to purchase an alfajores as well. This scatter plot focuses on rules where pastries are the consequent, meaning they are added after another product. So for instance, Rule 85 shows that if a customer buys bread, they often add a pastry, which indicates an opportunity for pastries to maybe be bought by bread buyers. Finally, this scatter plot visualizes the top association rules based on support, confidence, and lift. So Rule 380 right here shows a high likelihood that customers who purchase a pastry also buy a media luna. Similarly, Rule 232 indicates that if a customer buys a pastry, they're likely to buy a coffee as well, which to me is an important insight for a product pairing strategy. And it's with these high values of confidence, support, and most importantly, lift, that I'm going to focus on Rule 232 going forward. So this graph just shows the number of pastries and cups of coffee sold during the week and the times. Usually they're hitting the same peak times, once again, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And so going with that, and leaning heavily on Rule 232, you can place posters such as this near the counter to advertise a special. So for instance, you can purchase any pastry and then get a freshly brewed cup of coffee for just $1 more. This could really heighten pastry sales as well because people are already buying coffee in droves, as you saw before. And with targeted marketing in the busiest hours of 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., especially on weekends, you can see an increased average transaction value by bundling these two items. So this concludes my analysis. Thank you so much for your attention.